I just sing nursery rhymes now. Just singing row, row, row your boat there. Welcome back to James and Flav for now. Lots to talk about. We've got, there's been lots going on in the world of football. I've got a stats going to blow your mind. Flav's going to utterly blow your mind.
Really?
We've got some Ainsleys in the wild, which we can critique. We've got some celebrations in. For those who don't know, we've been putting forward this idea of some Ainsley Harriott celebrations, and they're pretty epic. But which ones are the best, and can we do better?
What? Sorry, I zoned out for a second there because I was looking down at my
shock.
No. Well.
We'll also have to claw back the amount of sweet spots we missed 2 weeks ago because you were halfway through setting up for your next podcast at the end of last week's podcast, which was difficult. And someone actually made a comment about it. They said, where is it? They said the end of this is 05 Beloa. The end of this pod is like when you try it on with your missus and she gives you the heartbreaking little noise to indicate she's not in the mood, only for you to follow it up with a saddened sigh. She sees the disappointment on your pathetic little face and says, "Oh, come on then," which leaves you in the really awkward spot, still wanting to do it, but being too prideful to accept the pity offer. Pity shag. Yeah, that's how I felt.
A shame.
I felt like you were sort of going, all right, let's make love, but you have to go on top. I'm just lying here.
It wasn't that. It was basically I'd forgotten that I'd had a meeting. Right, we were going to have sex, but I'd forgotten that I had a really important meeting to go to that keeps the roof above my head.
Right. Well, we've got lots of sweet spots,
and I'm not really
to come back.
Yeah, okay.
We'll come back from it. I tell you what, I'll chuck one out now because we've got lots to catch up on. Eve de Grief says when you're. Actually, I think I said some of these. Eve de Grief, when you're grating a block of cheese, we said that one.
All right, well, there you go. Was it that big of a problem then, James?
Well, we'll come back to sweet spots later in the podcast. Is there anything you'd like to say, Flav?
Well, I've got things have just, it's been a couple of weeks since we've last done a pod, isn't it, Jim?
It has.
Just kind of things have been getting on my nerves. Certainly in the last couple of days, I'd say. But mostly I've got a question to ask everyone, and mostly you, Jim, is like, do you think Arteta has any genitals? Like I think he's
like a Kendall.
Kendall. There's nothing down there. He just bumps around everything. No, my actual question is this. What is it, right? What is it with everybody, Jamie Carragher included? What is it about the fact that they can't just acknowledge that Everton have broken the rules, but must divert the conversation towards Manchester City? What does it have to do with Manchester City at all?
Yeah. Well, I will be honest. We did the mailbag, didn't we, yesterday? And it was the first thing I said was, "What about Man City?" But I agree with you.
Why is that everyone's go-to? What the hell does it have to do with Man City if Everton have broken the rules? If I've murdered someone, I don't then go, "Well, no, hang on a minute. Fred West existed.
Yeah,
he did something back then. Therefore, you should let me off with this murder."
This murder.
Is that how rules work?
So Everton are facing a 12-point deduction as the Premier League demands FFP punishment. Oh, we might struggle with the Telegraph because they don't have their thing. Let's go back. Let's go to Sky News. They're free because of FFP breaches. Now, I've heard a lot of different things on this. Just to get the Man City thing out of the way, because I think it's a fair point. Yeah, it's absurd. Like I think obviously it's in the same arena and it's something to talk about alongside it. Because I think there's definitely an interesting discussion on the framing of this, of the wrongdoing. Because I listened to a couple of things about this just to sort of learn a bit more about it. And it is interesting, the framing of it, where sort of Everton have there's this idea that like poor little Everton, like they've not actually done that wrong, and they've not done as wrong as Man City. What?
So why are Everton getting punished 12 points when Manchester not? Well, they're not. I'll let you finish. Sorry.
So I think there's a few things that are slightly misleading from what I've realised and I don't know if I think they're problematic from I can't figure out if they're problematic from a PR point of view or not, or an internal point of view. So this 12-point deduction is almost like a sort of starting point from the Premier League. What is odd is that people think, oh, the Premier League want this, and the Premier League are, the judges on this. There's an independent panel that will deal with this. But what I find weird is that the role of Everton, the role of the Premier League in this now is the sort of accuser, the prosecutor to a point, for a club within their own league, which is a funny little look to have. So this 12-point deduction that they're putting forward, a bit like the Man City one, is one which I didn't realise, and I think it's worth saying, is that the Premier League can't do anything, really. They can suggest it, and they could look to get it over the line so that the integrity of the league remains. But really, it's almost like a starting point of a negotiation tactic where you have to go as far as possible to this 12-point deduction. Because if you go into administration, you get a 9-point ban, a 9-point deduction. So a 12-point deduction is interesting when it's about kind of the other side of it of spending too much money. But my point is that they won't get a 12-point deduction. That's the starting point of the negotiation of the prosecution.
They should get a 12-point deduction. But that besides that, look, Everton at this stage don't have a 12-point deduction. It's not happened. They're going through a process to find out. Like you said, Jim, it's been referred to as to an independent commission. In March, that happened, by the way. What's been levied at Everton is that you're allowed to, the Premier League rules are that you spend £105 million, you'll lose a maximum of £105 million over a 3-year period, or face sanctions. That is what every member of the Premier League knows and understands, that as a part of their membership comes with it this stipulation that you cannot lose more than £105 million. Everton, according to The Guardian, lost close to £380 million. Right, and you might think, well, it's not the end of the world. It's not like buying a title. Teams have been relegated because Everton were able to spend their way to a situation where they weren't they were the 4th or 5th worst team in the league. There will be clubs that are relegated that could probably sue Everton or look to take legal action against Everton because they've broken the rules. Because they've broken the rules to the point where they gained an advantage on the pitch. Whether they spent that money correctly or well is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. That's their poor decision. The fact that they were able to meant that they were willing to flout the rules enough in order to get the players in, like Dele Alli, when they had no money, that they organised the deal with Spurs, that they weren't going to pay a penny for him, they pay £40 million down the road, or all the other terrible players they brought in, right? All of it is irrelevant because fundamentally they were stronger than the teams that were sent down, and they had a direct link between how much they spent and the teams that were relegated. So there's some of the seriousness of this issue. Comparing Manchester City to this is like two different things. They both exist in football. They're both similar. They're both related because it's about spending money. But no one is saying that Manchester City are innocent. And Manchester City are currently being investigated, and it's a huge number of charges, 107 or whatever it might be, right? And Manchester City have the wherewithal to drag this into the legal quagmire, whereas this is just the beginning for Everton. So comparing the two is pointless. And my issue with it is that's the instant narrative of football fans and pundits that are close to Merseyside and Liverpool, i.e. Jamie Carragher. Their first go-to when, well, look at Manchester City. Look at that. What Manchester City have done is irrelevant to what Everton have done. It looks like Everton have broken the rules, and if they have, they've gained an unfair advantage, and other teams and fans have suffered because of it, and they should be punished accordingly. 12 points. What I'm saying might sound irritating, but it's completely fair.
I agree with you. And I think that the problem is that there's that's what I find interesting about the framing of it all is I heard someone talking about how they were talking about the administration and the, and this situation, and he was going, well, administration, you haven't got the money to, you've not got any money. Whereas this, we've got the money to we're trying to better ourselves. We're trying to sort out a stadium. We're trying to catch up with those other guys. It's all wrong. It's all wrong. It's not just, and it's not less wrong because you've got enough money. That's ridiculous. Yeah. That's absolutely absurd to go. We're less bad because we're better than Man City because we've got less money than them, but we've got more money than the guys that go into administration. So we're not as bad as them. It doesn't make any sense.
It's all the same. Every club, just to be clear, every single club that would have breached Premier League spending rules would be treated in the exact same way. Exactly the same. It's just that Everton are the first to have done it.
I think that's the thing. When whoever it is first, and Reese is one of our patrons. Reese, if you would like to come into the studio and put forward a point, then please feel free to. I do think one thing that I think is fair is to do this a couple of days after Bill Kenwright passes away. I don't think is necessary. This is also something that is being leaked, so it doesn't need to be leaked. Like, why is it like? But how is it getting leaked? That's got to stay. That has to stay within it all.
Who's done it?
Who's leaked it?
Yeah, no one. It's the Premier League haven't come out and announced it. They recommended it in March this year that they need to be looked at and investigated. No, but it has come out from somewhere, Jim.
Yeah, but I guess the Telegraph have put. I don't know actually. I probably should look that up if I'm honest. But from what I was aware of, it was that the Premier League had come out and done this. But
Everton could be fined with a transfer embargo if found guilty. But according to the Daily Telegraph, the Premier League has recommended.
That was it. The Premier League have recommended it. What's interesting
but back in March, not now. It is a mess. But to say that my major bugbear, just to underline it, and I won't say it again, that your argument cannot be that Manchester City have done it as well. Or look, how have they gotten away with it? They haven't gotten away with it. They're under investigation. The punishment eventually will come unless they win. If they prove that they haven't done anything wrong, if they win that, then they won't get punished. But that's about legality, and that's about how well you can build a defence, which is the staple of our justice system.
I think
Everton have to do the same.
What is fair to say is that I can understand the frustration at where is the conclusion to the Man City thing, because, and also there needs to be something in place. And I know, again, this is above my. I'm doing the ripple effect with Kieran Maguire next week, which would be great. So I'll be able to ask him a lot of these questions. But the fact that these things can be buried, that's one problem for me. The second problem I always keep coming back to is, and you can like it or dislike it, but in terms of the safeguarding of teams moving forward, in my opinion, the way that La Liga do it, where you put forward your accounts, put forward the money that you have, and you are given an amount that you can spend each season, that is still for me the best solution to this, because it being the other way around is a nonsense that leads to people scrabbling around, and even Everton themselves trying their best to work with the Premier League to make certain signings that allow them to stay underneath, the breach mark, for want of a better phrase. And Kieran Maguire was suggesting that it's like one transfer that has popped them over the top.
Everton?
Yeah, and so for something as minimal as that, if it is something like that, that is so easily, but that's so easily stoppable. Do you know what I mean? Right. If you go, I'd love to spend. We've got 300 million to spend, and also I think, look, it's not as simple as that in the sense that you still need to allow people to grow their clubs, right? But I think the Chelseas and those teams being able to buy their way out of trouble is one problem. But also the other side of it, of what Everton is doing in terms of trying to jump, is also a problem because it's so precarious. But you have seen with Brighton that you can be smart, and you can be smarter than other teams, and you can use your money correctly, and you can sell players for the right amount as well. So it has to come back to, it has to be clear in front of you, because you might want to spend 300 million, but you have to say, you have to understand. They go, well, what if you spend that 300 million and then you run off? So no, you can't. You can spend 100 million. Like, it's so obvious. I just find it bizarre that this isn't in place, because like Everton can be as angry as they want to be. They have broken the rules, but you can't trust these people to you can't trust people to behave themselves. Like, they're gonna try and go for it.
No,
because they're not risk averse. Yeah. That's why they're owning a football club.
Yeah, most of them, a lot of them, and imagine how this is going to change. Like, if you want to stop state-owned football clubs in the Premier League and in La Liga, that's the way to do it. Is directly cap how much each team can spend, and not directly correlated to revenue. The problem you've got, though, is that affects the global brand of the Premier League, the global strength of the Premier League brand, right? They just want the best players, the best football, all of that to bring in the most amount of money. This isn't, and it hasn't been for a long time. The Premier League has not been about sporting integrity, regardless of what they say. It's about it's a business prospect that is about generating as many eyeballs on the Premier League as possible, and that would be damaged by making it a fairer competition, unfortunately. The
one thing I was talking about, Flav, was the PR element of it. Like you say, with the Premier League being, like we say, if we think of them as the prosecutors, but they're not the judges on this. From a PR point of view, that looks like they're sort of fighting the good fight. But from an internal point of view, is that going to make their lives more difficult to sort of work well with Everton or other teams? Because you're actually going to have all the teams that got relegated as well. They're going to, that's the next line, isn't it? With these kind of stories, well, okay, all these guys are going to sue you now, because obviously they will do, because it's a tap.
Yeah, because of loss of earnings.
Yeah.
Well, it's also loss of earnings. The stability of their football club in the short to long term has been directly offended by the flouting of rules by another club that they're in competition with. So, of course, they're going to be annoyed, and of course there should be probably be sort of some sort of legal activity towards Everton. The Premier League, I don't think I think that's maybe I'm thinking of it at too much of a simple level. When you come into the Premier League, and Everton know this because they've been in there as long as anybody else, they know the rules as a part of the membership, of which if you break them, you can be removed from the Premier League in its entirety. Not that this has happened here. But you saw what happened with Rangers in Scotland. They were removed, the second biggest club in the world, in the country, and they were removed, effectively disbanded, and had to go to the bottom of the Scottish pyramid. So it can happen, and whether Everton's relationship with the Premier League is irrelevant at this moment, I think. I would say that it's very simple. The rules are you cannot lose more than £105 million if you do, you're in breach. That's not Everton being picked on. That's a rule that they've broken, that everybody has to play by, and it's more difficult for some than others. I think the anger and angst and frustration from Everton fans, and I'm sure it is, but certainly people who are passionate about this, should be at the owners and the people that have run Everton in the last 5 years that have allowed this situation to happen. That's where the fury and Irish should be. What have you done to our football club?
I agree. I agree with you. I think I think it is as simple as that. And I actually, the Premier League side of it, for me, that showing of strength will hopefully continue to be a deterrent. I think that they have. Reese, pop into the studio and talk to us. I'm intrigued.
Reese,
I'm sure you know more about it than we do.
Let's talk about it. I'm not sure he does. Just because he supports Everton doesn't mean he knows more about it. And everyone's heard the news at the same time. If Reese, if COVID comes into question, appreciate it. If COVID affected every single football club, why have Everton only been the ones that fall foul? So if it isn't to do with the owners of the football club,
you were allowed to move. You were allowed to move it on a year or something like that with the COVID.
So why are they? So why are Everton the only club in question here then?
Right. Hello,
Reece. Floor's yours. Go.
Right. Well, you said I've got so many thoughts. It's like I don't even know where to start. Okay. But basically, we obviously during the COVID seasons, you could spend your losses could be more because of COVID. So we basically the only reason why we're the ones getting done is because you could spend to a certain point. I can't remember exactly the figure, but we spent obviously lost 300 million or something from the COVID season and claimed them all as COVID losses. And now the Premier League, we've been working with the Premier League on that, and they've been okay in our transfers and stuff. And now and now they've thrown it back at us, it feels like to say, look, we're not happy with how you've done it, even though they were working with us the whole way. So it's kind of just like, look, we probably have broken the rules and we probably deserve the deduction and everything. I can't argue with that, but it just feels like a bit of a, like, if we were in breach of breaking the rules, you'd think the Premier League would mention it rather than letting us go through it and do ourselves in, if you like. And obviously, don't get me wrong, the frustration is with the owners. I mean, that's been a quite public thing for many years at Everton now. The owners are just a disgrace. And Mashiri's selling to drug traffickers now, so it's kind of like we're going from worse to worse.
But that's the issue, isn't it? The issue is all right. The Premier League aren't. I guess the Premier League to some degree would want to help Everton and any other football club that's in that is put into this situation. But fundamentally, it comes back to the ownership and how they've run it, because they're the ones that are able to spend. I remember talking to Barry from Everton Fan TV, Toffee Fan TV. Yeah. And he was talking about the owners being sort of on paper the second or third richest in the Premier League back then.
We are if you've got Alisher Usmanov, his money man, but obviously he's now been banned with the whole Russia conflict.
Oh, right.
And this all sounds incredibly. This sounds incredibly familiar. I've got to be honest. Like, we had the Matals, or supposedly still do to a point. What I'm seeing here, I see two things. Like, one, people at Everton, when they were spending that money, I still think people were going, yeah, okay, FFP's a thing, but it'd be all right. And that's why I keep coming back to this idea of, like, you've got to give people their pocket money and or negotiate how else they could look to invest to build up a club, because you don't want just the big getting bigger and everyone getting stuck where they are. You need to have that ability to be able to move and stuff like that.
One of the major issues with financial fair play.
Yeah, but QPR tried to spend their way out of it, and we've been fucked by it. Like, we've been like, trust me, and we'll get on to QPR, right? I think what is a fair frustration with the Man City thing is that they I think Chelsea have been in breach at times as well. They get away with and it's life, isn't it? The people with the money get away with it. Yes, it is life. Yes, it is business, but it's also sport. And so, like, you're right, Flavin, everything you're saying. Everton will have to pay the price almost as an opportunity, and that's obviously, I imagine you're raging when I say opportunity. Like, an opportunity to really set a marker of like you say with Rangers, Flav, like Glasgow Rangers, like no one gets away with this. And I wonder if you did do that with Everton in something that's a bit quicker to resolve, would that put the pressure back on Man City to get that resolved quicker? Because something needs to come from that quickly. I'm not saying that.
Imagine the fallout of that would be incredible, wouldn't it?
Of course.
As the Premier League's what they would do. Imagine that. The Premier League gone, I think we should make an example of not Man City. Let's make an example of Everton and relegate them to League Two. That would be amazing.
But it's about getting it over the line, isn't it? Sorry, Reece, go on, mate.
Yeah, get it done.
No, sorry. The only thing about the Man City thing is that if we could potentially get 12 points for one charge, then their 115 will be a bit interesting if they all come through. It's like they should be non-league. If it's 12 points per charge, they'll be straight.
At this stage, Reece, we don't know what punishment is coming to them, and the frustrating thing that might happen. And I'm saying that let's give Man City a bye. The frustrating thing about Man City is that they probably have the best legal team in football. And the thing with and Everton, to be fair, the size of that football club and the amount of money, there should be no issue with finding suitable legal defence in order to defend Everton. Everton are not paupers, right? So Manchester City could well get away with it because of their ability in the courtroom in order to drag
they did it with UEFA, didn't they?
Yeah, of course. That's an indictment on our legal system. And the fact that football gets caught up in it.
Yeah, and it can be above, money can be above it, essentially.
As did you see like O.J. Simpson got off? Because he had brilliant lawyers.
Yeah.
He had fucking amazing lawyers.
Well, allegedly.
Oh, was he not guilty? No?
No, I'm pretty sure he was.
Was he guilty?
They're going to safely say that.
So are we comparing Man City? Man City's O.J. Simpson, then that's what we're saying.
If they get off, yes, 100%.
A little bit, yeah. Do you know what, though? If you went down to League One, League Two, I think you'd enjoy it. I'll be honest.
The thing is, Jim, everyone, I think you'll have probably had it with QPR. Everyone thinks you go down and then you'll go flying back up. I think we'd be stuck.
I appreciate that fear. I am there. I'm with you.
Do you feel stuck? Do you feel stuck, Jim?
Do I feel stuck for? I think the QPR and Everton is very different. But what I will say is, the happiest I've ever been as a QPR fan was when we were in Division 2. Happy.
Yeah. Well, that's some solace then.
Winning will do that, won't it?
Winning will do. Yes, Flavin. We'll get on to Tottenham in a minute. I think the thing is though, Everton won't end. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, I mean,
no, I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? We will go to that. Yeah, but like,
how quickly is this this 12 points? Could it be implemented? Could it be this season?
The hearing's right. The hearing is happening like now. I think like the next couple of weeks. So it could. I don't know how soon. When it be for. If it's a start of next season, we might actually. I'd prefer that because we might have I think we've got a chance of staying up if we don't have the point deduction. It's just if we have the point deduction, I think we're done.
Do you?
Yeah.
It won't be. I don't think it'd be 12 though. It would be 6 at most. I just don't think it would be 12.
Can I give you an example of where this happened? 12 points. Spurs got deducted 12 points for financial irregularities in 1991. All right. And a ban from the FA Cup. And all of it was overturned. So 12 might be the figure, but it might not be 12. It might be 6.
It's no way it's 12.
We had good lawyers.
There's no way it's 12.
We were guilty.
12's the starting point. 12's the starting point. You have to go they'll go as far as they can.
Yeah, that's like the maximum.
It's a maximum. It won't. Yeah, it can't be any more than 12. So if it's 6 to ever, all right, okay, let's play a game. Let's make this a little bit lighthearted. Yeah. How many points did Deduction keep? Let's bring a bit of fun to this situation, shall we?
6 is 2 wins.
Where are we?
I think you'll be surprised. I said that this week. I think Everton would be absolutely fine, and I think what is a good thing is that bottom 4. And I actually still think Burnley will be okay. Bournemouth will start to pick up more points. I think they're much better than they're showing. Tom Jordan will be delighted with that.
You'll be if it is 12, you'll be 10 points behind Luton.
Oh yeah, then we're done. We're absolutely done.
Are you? I don't think you are.
No,
but we lost to Luton.
I know, but you've won 2 in the last 5. They're the only team in the bottom 5 to have done that.
Yeah, we played Tom Jordan's Bournemouth.
Trying to help you, Reece.
No, honestly, Flav, I'm in the pits. It'd be a tough task to bring me back up, but one of the amazing things about Merseyside and about Everton and about Liverpool is that they can harness this us against them mentality, which is really strong in motivating teams, and Everton would have a kind of motivation that no other team in that bottom lot would have. It's kind of the reason we stayed up last year and the season before, to be fair, because it was a frustration with the situation, and then we all just bounded together and stayed up. But I mean, this is just it's just I don't know how many times I can do this. There's a part of me that would not want to go down, but if we went down, it's like we're just delaying the inevitable. I feel.
Yeah,
it's like going to happen eventually.
And I like I say, I don't think it would be as bad. I think Everton are an enormous football club and would return at some point. Obviously, it takes time. Yeah. But a game of football is a game of football, and actually, winning games of football is far more fun than not winning games of football. I do one thing to predict. Say you do get a points deduction, get it done quickly. You know you need to bring in straight away Wayne Rooney. He's got the experience. He knows how to deal with a points deduction and to get a team firing.
But he points deduction and then went down anyway.
If you get the points deduction, do you then still have to sell loads of players as well?
Yeah, well, actually, that's a good point. But I'd imagine that even with where we're at in terms of the breach, I think we're still like on the edge. We're not like any closer to being out of the clear, right. In terms of the actual financial situation.
Yeah, you need to bring it back in line, right?
Yeah,
you don't want to.
We're in the process of selling the club, but they don't seem like great guys. These 777 people, they're not having me with confidence anyway. No,
they're not great guys. But if they clear your debt, then that's a step in the right direction. But so, what's them?
Reece, final question: are you guilty? Are Everton guilty?
Almost certainly.
Right. So what were you getting angry about? What's he getting angry about?
Why are you so angry with me then?
Because we are
Leave me alone, he's saying. He's screaming. Just leave me alone.
All right. Sorry, it's just
I can't do this anymore.
we can't.
I don't think we can deny we're guilty, but there's definitely, when you think how we've worked with the Premier League for so long on it, and then it's kind of thrown back in our face. And then you've obviously the argument of Man City, as you say, it's irrelevant, but you do wonder, well, Man City need to be made an example of as well. Then in that case, you can't be one rule for one rule for the other.
But this is the thing: you're not being made an example of. That's my issue.
No, because we've done it. But in terms of, obviously we're the first ones. But if we
you're not the first ones, just to be clear.
Well, that's right. We're the first ones who have actually got this far.
Yeah. Well, Spurs got one in '91. Like I said, it has happened, but it.
Overturns. Fuck you.
And the other thing, that was a long legal process that we eventually won. But the thing is, I forgot what I was going to say now. But it's what you just said in terms of working with the Premier League, right? That is something. But if you're in a tax deficit, if you owe the taxman, you can work with an accountant and a taxman to ameliorate the situation so that you're not going to prison. But you still have to pay the tax at the end of it.
Yeah, you're
still punished at the end of it. And what about how do you think who went down last year? I forget about them when they go into the Championship. Who is it? Who went down?
Leeds,
Leicester,
Southampton.
What Leeds?
Leicester and
some big teams. So some of them they went down. Do you not think they're looking at Everton a little bit, thinking, well, you broke the rules, we didn't?
Even if we're innocent, they're going to sue us. It's inevitable. Even if this is fine, we don't get charged, we're going to get sued.
Yes, I mean, as I say, it's a tapping that other clubs have done because you are already, you've got guilty on your forehead.
Well, it's just inevitable, and Tom Jordan's lapping it up. So I mean,
a bit disgusted with Tom Jordan's behaviour.
It's
gotta be
disgraceful,
honest.
isn't it?
Gotta be honest. Better than that, Tom. Better than that, Tom. Oh, by the way, Tom, can you be on standby for when Iraola gets the sack so we can do a video together, please?
I was just about to say, I know he needs to watch what's happening over there because it's coming it up.
Got to go, any Tom. Tom came on this podcast. Reese, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
nice for setting us straight. Only forwards, mate. Good man. Reese does a lot of incredible work for the Discord server, getting people together for the narrative. So, Reese, thank you, mate. Love you. Tom Jordan came into this very studio, and this is why you should become a patron, guys, because we just come in, bob out, put us in our place. And Tom Jordan said, like, tough games. Do against this game. Do against this team. Look at it. In disarray. Lads are in disarray. Can I say this? Tom will like this, right? Gary O'Neill, right? So we did the podcast this week with the Allcott, the Pyramids of Allcott, fuck's sake. And we did one on Premier League managers this year. And as soon as we finished it, I said, I feel like Gary O'Neill, the recency bias was rife. I feel like Gary O'Neill being on Monday Night Football, speaking very well, by the way, and very interestingly, but off the bat of how he won the game against Bournemouth, he had a man sent off. This Bournemouth who were struggling, you had a man sent off for like a large part of the game. And then we did our sort of, Pyramids of Allcott saying who will get the sack by May. Because in that, we basically saw that generally, last year, 16 managers got sacked. 16 last year. That's more than the first 7 seasons of the Premier League combined. And on average, it's about 8 or 9, right? So even this year, 8 or 9 managers are going to lose their job. And when you look at the Premier League managers, a lot of them you generally think are quite safe. So we will soon. Someone mental's going to get the sack. Someone crazy is going to get the sack this year.
Is that what the pyramid's about? This week is about who?
Yeah. So we've got Gone by May, punching. He's good, but is he good? What is it? Elite, and then pound for pound, best manager in the league.
Wow.
Yeah,
and when's it out?
Possibly tomorrow. It's a mess. I'll tell you that now.
Mate, of course it doesn't matter.
But yeah.
Could I just say, just before we move on from Bournemouth, in your fucking face, Tom.
Yeah.
Because I don't forget what you did, your behaviour and your tone last year when Bournemouth beat Spurs. And I get it. I understand. We're a big.
Got to shoot your shot, haven't you?
You shoot your shot. I got it. We're a big fish, and you caught us, right? I get it. I understand it, Tom, but I didn't forget it, right? When I was fuming at Spurs and I was lost from my football club. I didn't need you chirping in my ear going, laughing, basically.
Can I ask one request? So, Luke, Stoko Pops, the man who brings in the brands, could you pop into the studio? And you've got about 20 seconds. And because you just said, please take Rooney. So, Luke is a Birmingham fan.
He wants Rooney out already.
He said, please, capital letters, he says, please take Rooney. I'll drive him there myself.
Wow.
So I would just like to know why you're saying that.
Yeah.
And then I'd like you to leave. Thank you very much. Because we've got lots to talk about. Because I need to show people doing Ainsley Harriott celebrations in clubs. That's important stuff.
I've still got loads of stuff I want to talk about as well.
Okay. What would you like to talk about? Is Luke on his way in? He's popping in now. Here comes Luke. I've got something that's been on my mind for like weeks, and I kept forgetting, and then we didn't do the podcast. And I don't know the answer for it, and I need people to answer it. And I think it's the start of a new bit called Tell Me Why.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Luke, go for it. Why?
Okay. Basically, Rooney has come in the first 2 games and taken the team with the joint best defensive record in the league, changed the formation to how he likes to play, and we now can't stop conceding chances and goals in the first 2 games, and we haven't had probably more than 2 chances in the first 2 games. So Rooney's brought in no fear football, and he's probably made us the worst team in the league.
He's instilling fear in the fans.
So this no fear football is the only emotion I've felt for these last 180 minutes of watching Birmingham City, after not feeling it under Eustace for probably 12 months, is fear. Right. I think he's going to change. Based on the interview last night, I think he spoke to the players and said they're not ready to do this system that he wants, so he's going to go back to basics a little bit. But if we play like that,
you're not ready. Little pal.
Yeah.
You're not ready.
Sorry. Are you not ready, lads? Okay, we'll go back to how you like to play then. Yeah.
Me and Ashley and John O'Shea, we're up here, guys, but you guys aren't here yet, so we're just going to dumb it down for you.
Mate, listen. Honestly, though, listen to his press conferences after the matches, like his post-match interviews. It's scary. Like, he's calling the players out after 2 games. Like, it's got.
Does it not feel good?
It's got Raul and Zola V2 written all over it. It's scary. It's so scary.
Luke, do you remember? Did you ever see the interview he did with Barry from Toffee TV?
No.
It was really interesting because he was talking really candid about his time at Everton, but that elitist sort of I'm better than everybody, I'm at the top of the tree kind of mentality was evident throughout it. He was basically went into he was talking about going into the training room on the training ground at Everton and calling Alan Stubbs shit. All of these players are shit. I need to get out of here. That was his mentality.
That's absolutely fine to do when you're a world-class footballer and you know you're world-class and you can back it up every Saturday.
Not fine to do, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
No, but as in, it's like you can understand it if you back it up. But like he did a great job at Derby under circumstances. Fine, granted. Didn't they still get relegated anyway though? So how good is that job, right? But still a tough place to go. Goes to DC, doesn't pull up trees with an average MLS side. Again, can forgive him for that. But to come into a team that's been average for years and then go, right, well, we're going to play 4-3-3. The 3 strikers aren't going to track back. We're going to let us get overloaded because we're good enough to go and batter teams. It's just so scary. And I think actually, the one thing I've taken from it was Fergie didn't even used to call the players out after games, like the greatest manager he's ever had. He never used to do that. Yeah, Rooney's come in and done it.
Luke's chucking out the Fergie card.
Mate,
oh dear,
it's scary, mate.
Oh dear.
You know, listen, if he's learned from the best manager, which is Ferguson,
Luke,
then I'm worried, mate.
Can I say one thing before we move on? At least you've got Bellingham. At least you've got Bellingham, mate.
Hey, listen, he's flying, isn't he? One of our own, he's flying.
Luke, do you know? So I'm going to watch you Bellingham's first El Clasico
I know you are.
on Saturday.
I'm so jealous, mate. Enjoy it.
So excited.
Yeah.
So excited.
Wave at him for me, won't you?
I'll blow him a kiss for you.
Good man. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, mate. Very good. Cheers. Very good. Okay. So yeah, if you want to say outlandish things in our live chat whilst we do the podcast and then step into the studio, into the breach, become a patron. Links in the description. Do we want to talk about QPR? I'm happy to skip it.
Up to you, mate. If you feel you need to get something off your chest, then by all means.
Do you know what? My dad said something to me, and it always stuck with me. He said, "Nothing's how you imagine it. Nothing in life is how you imagine it. All right. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse, but it's never how you imagine it. Right. So I'm going to El Clasico this Saturday, thanks to the wonderful people at Spotify. Very, very excited. So excited. Always wanted to go to El Clasico. One sad thing is that it's not at Nou Camp. I've never been to Barcelona either. So it would have been great if it was at the Nou Camp. It's at the Olympic Stadium. Should look into it a bit more. But yeah, I'm buzzing to see like Jude Bellingham play and all those guys play. It's going to be amazing. The game's on at like 3:15. So what I find, but in terms of like, imagine going to that game and just being enthralled by the spectacle and the quality on the pitch. Yeah, yes, I will try my best to do that. But sadly, I will be sat there knowing that QPR are playing Leicester City at home. Now, this is the Championship table. So I'm just going to show. So there's Leicester City. There's Leicester City, right? 13 matches played. 12 matches won. They've lost 1. They've scored 27. They've let in 7. They're on 36 points. After 13 games, they are 14 points ahead of third. Right? So we just pop down a bit. Somehow, I thought we were third bottom, the second bottom. We've lost our last 5. We have won 2 games. A goal difference is we've let in more goals than anyone in the league. Let me just check. Same as Norwich. Norwich has let in 24. That's mental. We have only scored 9. And in midweek, we played a game of football that led to me honestly turning it off. And that's not me. I turned it off because we had 1 shot. We had no shots on target. And we basically, someone described it, it was like watching Audley Harrison fight.
Yeah, just didn't throw.
Didn't, like, and I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Now sack that gimp you've got for a manager immediately and bring in Michael Beale. Bring him back.
No, I want Eustace. I want Eustace, thank you very much.
Eustace won't be the guy. Eustace had everything right at Birmingham for him to succeed. QPR is a different thing. Bring Bill back, swallow your pride, accept that he fucked you over, but Rangers was an opportunity. Get him back in and save your season. That's what needs to happen. That's what the discussion should have been. Sorry for calling Gary Ainsworth a gimp, but that was unnecessary.
Gisgoose says 4 wins off the playoffs. Could you? No, Gisgoose. No, we couldn't. What I did want to say is the truth, right? Now, the truth is, because the stats are horrific, right? And say, even in that game, we've gone away from home, and the idea is to be solid, right? And in the first half of that game, West Brom didn't really have a sniff at all. And then what happens is, about, 58 minutes into the game, our fullback decides to just kick their player after getting turned inside out. And in the kerfuffle after that, we've got one centre-back who's already gone off, who's one of our few fit centre-backs. The other centre-back who's already on a booking decides to have a go at the ref and gets sent off at the same moment. So we're looking to hang in there anyway, but like conceding a penalty and having a player sent off, it's over.
Yeah, it's done.
And throughout the season, we needed to be lucky this season. We had to have some luck on our side, especially the way that he was going to play, because he's bringing in people that are going to work hard. And we've been unlucky. We have been really and I don't say that lightly because I think it's an excuse. We have been unlucky. We've had goals been put in with their hands. We've had players sent off when we're 1-0 up. We've played well in a couple of games initially when we've had that energy to get at teams. And I was in a much more positive place a few weeks ago, right? But the truth is, it is awful, and we have no way of scoring goals. And when we have to have luck, the only way we're going to win games is through luck. Something's got to change. And I love him as a person, but he needed the luck to get the momentum to give himself a chance, and it's not happened. So he's got to go.
Yeah, mate. I know. I feel for you.
Because we're going to be Charlton. We're turning into Charlton. A team that was in the Premier League, then got in League One, and then gets stuck there. because we can't get ourselves together. And we had a strategy in place, and as I've said, we absolutely threw that strategy in the bin, and then went with a guy who's a man manager. And I think he is still a good man manager, and he'll go on to someone else and he'll do a good job. But it's over. And I fear that El Clasico, I'm going to be looking at my phone, and I might just...
I was going to say, are you going to update? Are you going to have a little cheeky look to see how you're getting on while you're watching Real Madrid and Barcelona?
I don't know what to
do.
I don't know what to do with that.
Jim,
what's the best thing for me to do? Should I just go, look, I've waited my whole life to go to El Clasico. Let's just park that for an hour.
No, you don't, James. Your club is at QPR. Regardless of what you're watching, another football match, you need to, at least a part of your brain needs to be with QPR. So no, you don't, right?
But I want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy the experience.
Well, you can't. I tell you where I was at last season when Liverpool and Newcastle put in the sum total of a combined 38 minutes of football, we conceded 7 goals, right, across 2 teams. You get to a point where you feel nothing. You just feel nothing, and it's fine because your brain is protecting you. Yeah.
Do you know what? I've gone back past. Thing is though, this is so that, with all due respect, you feel nothing. You feel nothing, but there's no consequences for you with those. Oh, okay,
yeah,
we're not gonna achieve. But there's
there's
not that bit. There's not that bit.
Yeah.
Honestly, it is heartbreaking. I've never felt like this. Let me read it. I messaged my dad and I said to him, because he was watching it too, and my dad is generally pretty level. I said, this is unbearable watching us. Unbearable. He's got to go. We don't keep the ball or offer anything going forward. And my dad said, it is so depressing. No hope, no plan, no quality, plus self-inflicted misery, right? And then the problem is that you have to go and watch them again. And there are consequences, because I think, like, say with, Reece is saying about Everton, if you go down, if it's like Leeds go down, Leicester go down, and to be honest, I guess if it's a punishment, it's a little bit different with Everton because they might not get the parachute payments. But generally, if you have those parachute payments, you give yourself a chance. From Championship to League One, it's not the same. And
no,
I honestly thought about Koa, and I was like, I'm not sure I can do this to you. That's where I'm at. So John Eustace, in an ironic turn, come in and saves. No. Or Rowett. Wouldn't mind Rowett.
No, hang on, James. You didn't answer my question about Bill. You just skirted over it. What is that? Just a no-go? You know it's the correct football decision. You know that.
No, I'm not. No, I don't think it is. I think we need. Okay. I think we need somewhere in between functional.
Literally, it's
functional, but we can score goals because we've got a lot of runners in there. Got a lot of people who could work really hard. Yes.
When he was in charge of the club, you were sick talking about promotion. Since he left, it's gone down and down and down. Why isn't just bringing him back?
So his last 5 games, he lost 4 of them. So he started it. The second thing is the players that we have there are different now,
right?
And I don't think would suit the
Cloggers,
play.
Are they?
What?
Cloggers?
Yeah, a little bit. But I think they've got work rate, but they need to be functional. But we need to be functional with the ball as well. So that's why a Rowett or a Eustace would be of use.
Fair enough. Rowett will keep you up. You know, I've got a lot of time for Rowett.
Can I blow your mind with a stat?
Yeah, go on.
Man United. Thoughts on Man United generally? How's it going?
It's not going well. Would you want more?
Well, would you say it's bad right now for Man United?
I'd say it's bad. Yeah, I'd say it's bad. Yeah, my gut feeling about that football club is that they're in a mess. They hate their owners. They're making excuses for their manager when he probably should be removed for the sake of this season. And their football's shit, and they've spent absolute bundles of money. So that's how I feel about Manchester United.
Okay. I did a video with Brighton, Villa, and Newcastle fans. How do you feel about them? Or how do you think they're getting on?
So the Brighton, what did you say? Brighton,
Newcastle, Villa. Maybe Newcastle.
I'd imagine out of the lot, Brighton and I imagine they're all ecstatic about their football clubs. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they're all doing well. They're good seasons, eh?
All right, let me blow your mind here.
God, well, I'm so excited about this. You've been building this up for like 2 hours.
Man United are 1 point off Brighton and Newcastle.
So what?
They're 1 point off. 1 point off them.
They should be challenging for the league title. It's not good enough.
Should they though? So here's something I wanted to throw to you because I think this is really interesting. Really, really interesting. Cam, so on the pod on the Ripple Effect this week, Cam is a Man United fan, and he was talking about different players and how you judge. Oh yeah, you know Cam. How you judge players and clubs, right? And he said that how the sort of the badge is this sort of like mirage or filter in front of players. And so you decide that all of a sudden, so one of the examples was that Mudryk. So like Mudryk, he said, what's the difference between Mudryk and Demarai Gray? The difference is that Demarai Gray has been at Leicester and Everton, and Mudryk, went from the Ukraine for a big fee and went to Chelsea.
Yeah.
And so
you mean the difference in their abilities on the pitch?
Yeah. But my point kind of is that with Man United, their team, the back line, you've got Delot, Lindelof playing left back, Maguire's in there, who is apparently awful. Like Johnny Evans, all this stuff, all these players. Like, should they actually be anywhere near a title charge? Have we all just been lost by the badge? Does that make sense?
No. I understand what you're saying. It's a good question. It is a good question. And no, their squad isn't good enough. You'd have thought, and evidence actually, that they should be launching a title challenge. I agree with that completely. They have every advantage over Villa, Brighton, and Newcastle. Maybe not less so Newcastle. Well, no, they do. They have a massive advantage over all of those clubs. The players that they have in the club is based on poor decisions by their managers and the sporting directors and whoever it was previously. That's not to say that Man United as a football club shouldn't be challenging for the league every year. They should be. But if
you look at the team you've got, if you look at the team,
they spent $1 billion. If you spent $1 billion on making it. But you can't just then go, don't forget about the £1 billion. You've got your players aren't good enough. I get it. I understand what you're saying. Like that you're looking at this. You're looking at the squad they've amassed, and you think that's not good enough to win the league. I agree with you. And you're looking on football terms, that's not good enough. But Cam's not happy with that situation. Makola's not happy, or any Man United fans are not happy with that situation.
Yeah.
And rightly so, because they've spent a fortune.
Question for the chat and for you. Were they running hot last year then? What's the truth? Like, how good are they? Are they somewhere in between?
They're good enough to finish in the top four. And where were they? Where did they finish? Third, fourth? Was it last year? Third?
Well, the Champions League, wasn't it? So they finished fourth. Newcastle finished third. Their squad, where does their squad sit in terms of quality in the Premier League?
It doesn't. Look, if you're looking at it like that, then Spurs shouldn't be there, right? But there's so many factors to what.
That's what we spoke about. So that's where I kind of then drifted towards Ten Hag a little bit, because Eddie Howe, Unai Emery, De Zerbi, I think for sure, despite a poor run recently, Postecoglou, they are adding 20% performance to their team.
Absolutely,
and
100%.
For whatever reasons, Man United you're not getting that. And I think last year you maybe from an overall team output, maybe you were getting like 40% from Rashford and 40% from Henderson.
They're about
Fernandes.
Well, they're about. Would you say that Manchester United were par last season? About they finished about as good as their squad would allow. Fourth.
I think they were a little bit fortunate that Liverpool had such a bad season in hindsight. The weird thing is, I thought Ten Hag was the right guy. I thought he proved that he was the right guy last year. But now I haven't decided. But I want to explore the idea that it maybe he is not getting the best out of those guys.
No, I don't think he is. I absolutely don't think he is. And I did the club with Rory and Adam and that, and I asked the question and it wasn't in jest, but it was responded with like I was like not a moron, but like, you know, like, how dare you to even suggest such a thing? Because, and that was, is Ten Hag really the guy? Because he doesn't feel like that for me. He doesn't, and he hasn't done. Like what he achieved last season was about what they should have achieved at bare minimum, really, for the amount of money that was pumped in. He has to take responsibility for Anthony signing, who has been, he's all right. He's an okay forward. Is he £80 million from the Dutch league worth? Then you know, is he worth? Was he worth the £80 million? And that was a decision from Ten Hag directly. Martinez, good player, but was he? Is he really the guy? Casemiro was brought in. I'm going to fix this. This season has been okay. These are players that he's brought in and needed, and now we are where we are, and he has to take responsibility, as do the Glazers fundamentally overall. But yeah, I think as a Man United fan, I think some of them are willfully wanting Ten Hag to do well because what's the next option? They've had so many managers and there's no real guarantee that they're going to get it right. They haven't got the Qatari ownership that a lot of them wanted. They've got essentially a Glazer light situation with Ratcliffe, if that goes through.
Sorry, by the way, is that true? United finished third. I thought Newcastle finished third. Maybe
I can't remember if it's third or fourth.
All right,
it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's the same. It's exactly the same thing. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I just think you've got to see it. You know, say like with Ainsworth, I could see it for a little bit, but I knew we needed some of those more wins to get that buy-in. Gary Neal said that on Monday. He said, you know, you played that first game against Man United. I told them what I wanted. They saw some of those benefits, and then they're with me. With Man United, I don't truly see how they play. No. And he's been there quite a while now. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, any of the clubs that are currently in the top four, how many Man United players are they taking? Bearing in mind this squad cost a fortune to put together, right? How many players are Tottenham taking out of this team?
The Man United.
Would you say? Yeah. I mean, be really as blunt, as honest, and as kind to United as possible. Given the fact of where your Spurs are playing, right? You look at their top players, Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, at this stage, would you put him in? Would you replace Maddison with? You wouldn't.
No. I put. I think I would find a place for Rashford.
Absolutely over Richarlison. Rashford, yeah. I'll give you that.
Do you know what I mean? Not Kulusevski. Midfield struggling a little bit, if I'm honest. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. The question that I said to the guys as well was like, if you put Ange in that Man United manager spot,
it'd be different.
I think it gets different quite quick, doesn't it? We've been talking about football for an hour now. Christ,
is it been that long?
Sure. Yeah. So maybe we've not got time to talk about Tottenham.
Don't worry. We're existing in everyone else's mind already, so it doesn't really matter, does it? Can I just say this one sentence and then we'll just move on? You don't have to respond. We can just leave it there.
Well, we'll go through the comments now. What time have you got to go, by the way?
I'm all right. I'm fine.
Okay.
I just want to say this one thing, is that we've gone from everybody putting us in, 10th. Paul Merson says we'd be lucky to finish in the top half of the table. Boovy put us in 10th. Rory had us in 8th. A lot of people. And, I said 7th. Yeah, and good football, I'd take this season. Yeah. Right. Now, there are articles, as we speak, on F365 with 5 reasons why Spurs can't win the league. And that's happened without us saying a bloody word. And what's really good is, the could we? The Fighting Cock's getting a lot of credit for the could we stuff. But
who created that?
I think we did on here. Do
you think it is us? It can't be us. Do you think it's us?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'll tell you where it's coming from.
It is us, isn't it? Because I thought that.
It was me and you did it 100%, and then obviously I've taken that into the Fighting Cock.
Yeah,
and then
of course.
Spurs fans have run with it since listening to that podcast. That's where it is.
Right.
The birth of it was me and you.
Because I guess for years we've been going, couldn't win it, could they?
Yeah, we have.
We've been doing that for years, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to know what's.
No. It's ours, Jim. It's ours.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Ours.
That's pretty cool.
It is cool. It is cool.
And yet Richarlison's sending shirts to Ben Haynes.
Is he?
I saw that. Yeah, I was.
He talks to him all the time.
Send one to me, mate. Do you know what What I will read is this, although I wouldn't wear it. I'd probably just give it away. Dennis says this. Let's calm down here. We're only 8 games in, 9 now. Are Spurs good? Yes. But are they this world-class team that don't need a goal scorer? This is obviously off the back of the Harry Kane podcast. No. I believe they are in really good form. But they still have Richarlison playing up front. We're yet to see how this squad or manager deals with a bad loss or a series of consecutive losses or even injuries. Kane regrets nothing. He wanted to leave 2 years ago and made the right decision for his career. Harry Harvey replies, he says, yeah, but could they? But could they, though?
Yep. But what?
Can we have a temperature check on that? Because, I mean, we understand and appreciate that this is a great run and we're enjoying it and long may it continue. But there's no way it happened, right?
Of course not. I mean, absolutely not. But of course not. Look, and this is what people are getting caught up in. Of course, and every Spurs fan out there is literally looking into they're looking at everything that's been happening. They're just saying there's no, obviously not, right? It's outrageous, but stranger things have happened. I mean, we could. We could.
What? I mean, when could you? Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, that's so when it goes from could we to will we?
Yeah.
Right.
Have we?
That'd
be a good day, wouldn't it? Have we? It'd be good fun, wouldn't it? Have we? Have we won the league? 10 points clear, 4 games to play. Have we won the league?
It shows you how far Tottenham have come when one of the reasons why we won't win the league is because Manchester City exist. It's what I would say, Jim. You might not have been exposed to this. The could we stuff is really rattling fans from other fan bases. Because they obviously they don't understand the self-deprecating narrative around it. Is that obviously we're so far off where we should? We're so far ahead of where we should be.
Yeah, I am waiting for it. I watched the Fulham game and I was like, they're really good. I was like, Basuma's not here and they're still really good.
Well, so it's weird you say that because I went to the Fulham game and I thought we were like 6 out of 10. Like compared to how we have been playing, that wasn't a brilliant
I thought you were a
performance.
bit like, it was sort
Second
of,
half.
Madison was kind of going, give it here. And
yeah.
And I was thinking, are they a bit sort of one-man teamy and that's going to be easy to deal with?
We're reliant
at some
on
point,
him.
you slowly sort of gently went through the gears in the first half.
Yeah, look, the biggest thing is the biggest thing, and this is a threat to everything, including Champions League football. A couple of injuries you would think would damage us really badly, but all the time you have to bear in mind, and as Spurs fans we all are, is that where we are right now, we're at the start of a journey. Where we are right now will not be where we are in a year, and where we are from 2 years. We're just a little baby. Why is everyone getting so angry at a little baby?
Yeah, just a young baby noshing on Ange Postecoglou's milky teat. That's what's happening right now.
I wonder where you was going with that then. I was like, oh my God.
That's all you're having. Imagine that. Close your eyes, people. Ange Postecoglou, he gets one arm out of his jumper, and Tottenham Hotspur is just there, just getting the nourishment of Postecoglou's, knowledge.
Yeah, I genuinely think I just wonder why there are so many fans they just concentrate on your own football club. Why are you so bothered about us if we're no threat to anybody? That's the perennial question. Why do you hate us so much if we're so shit? We're so Spursy. We're all the club. That was the club. This is the club. The club. The Tottenham Hotspur I understand them to be is one that doesn't get over the line, that fouls all the time. If we are that, why are you so fucking bothered about us? Because we're not really that, are we? Because we're under your skin because you're genuinely worried. Whatever happens for the rest of the season, right now, in this moment, Tottenham Hotspur are making your life less enjoyable than it would have been if we were shit. And you don't like it.
So what I think is probably annoying people with the could we is it's great. And the deeper it becomes a Tottenham thing, the less other teams can have it. Because then it's like old, and I think that's rattling one or two. But I think it's always been a broad thing. It's always been a broad thing.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, you don't take that away from QPR. One day when we're 55 doing this podcast and we go on a promotion run.
Do you know what's great though? Do you remember what Robbie called Tottenham? And I don't know if you come up with it. What he called Postecoglou? He called him Impostecoglou, which is really good. I'm not taking nothing away from that. It's very good. Very good. But that's the mentality of where they how they imagine him. Who is this fat Aussie/Greek footballer who's never cut his teeth in Australia, Japan, and Scotland? Who the fuck is he coming into Tottenham? Oh, I'll tell you who he is. He's a manager who's got the best ever start to a managerial career in Premier League history. Better than Guardiola, better than Wenger, better than all of those wankers.
Do you know what he does? He does a gentle power move in interviews that it sort of it unnerves me. But I imagine also actually it's a bit of a sort of like push-pull sort of theory, power move that he does. He'll get asked a question. And often it's quite hyperbolic or quite excited question because everything's going so well. And you'll notice this now. And he says, "Look," like he's like, "I'm getting annoyed. Look, mate, look, I've been in this game 20 years." Like he does that right. He'll start with "look," and you can hit even myself. I go, I thought, because he's quite, he's quite intimidating guy. You're waiting, oh God, he's going to get angry now, and then he sort of soothes you with a nice little like, stay calm, guys. I've got this. I'm on the wheel. I'm on the wheel. Postecoglou's on the wheel.
Well, part of Tottenham's success and the narrative around it is his ability, is how affable he is, but he's also ability to answer questions really well.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go into this obviously, but obviously there's horrendous stuff going on around the world at the moment, and lots of turmoil. And he's asked a question about it directly, and his ability to answer a difficult question. These are questions that football managers shouldn't really have to answer because they're managers of a sport, and their understanding of politics shouldn't be one that really brings them into disrepute, right? But some managers are happy to do it, some others aren't.
I'll remind you when Eddie Howe gets asked again of that take.
It's a good point.
It's
a good point.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good point. And he said, look, I finally answered it like this. He goes, look, he essentially said football is an escapism for the horrors in the world, and that when your team scores a goal, you hug the man or woman next to you, regardless of their race, their sex, their political identity, the way they vote, whatever it is. In that moment, football transcends everything. I just think you can't help but love him, and that's a part of this whole Tottenham loving happening at the moment as well. You know what I mean?
Do you know what's heartbreaking?
He's a big part of it.
Is that I can't really remember that. I can't remember scoring goals.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wonder if we score a meaningful goal to win a game comfortably, I think I'll cry at Loftus Road. I think I will actually cry. It's that bad.
Yeah.
Honestly, I ache. I can't get it across. I've never felt like this before.
Really?
It's horrible. Anyway, epic reframe. Tottenham can't win the league. You continually explain the historical reasons why, but reframe the question. Can Ange win the league? History will tell you he'll probably win the double.
He's won elsewhere.
Great epic reframe.
Next season. Look, Spurs can win the league next season. Next season will be a force.
No, it's this season. It's this season or not for quite a while.
Okay, fair play. But what Spurs are as a footballing entity and how convinced people will be of Tottenham, it will be more impressive next season than it is this season. And I'll tell you why. Tottenham Hotspur have changed as a football club. And that means fundamentally, and you'll hate this, Jim, because it always comes back to this. We've got so much fucking money.
Yeah.
We've got so much money. And everything is put in place now. The stadium is sorted.
Spend way too much. And like some people go, you're breaking financial fair play. Bury it in paperwork. Am I right? Bury it.
No, well, this is the thing. As a Spurs fan, we're in this enviable position of Daniel Levy building up a massive chasm of the amount of money we can spend and still be still be compliant. It's about losses. And Spurs generate huge amounts of revenue, massive amount.
When do all Tottenham fans owe Daniel Levy an apology? When does that come?
This is funny you mentioned this because we got tweeted the other day the Enik out people and this is, you mentioned recency bias. I wanted to bring this up. The recency bias. I'm now going, I haven't thought about Daniel Levy really at all. And last season I was like, he's got to go. And recency bias is the cancer of all football punditry because we cannot avoid it. We cannot avoid it. And reality is the last 2 or 3 months of what's happened to your football club won't be relevant to the next, right? Anyway, it is what it is. There are people now who are staunchly Levy out, and I'm thinking that you haven't heard from them. You're like, okay, well, so the purple and gold movement is dead, right? This is the anti-Enik out sort of colours. But now actually what they've managed to push it down the line, right? And now they're going, Levy out if he doesn't backhand in January. I'm like,
epic reframe.
They've reframed it. And how, Jim, what a miserable way to follow a football club if you are top of the league and you're instantly, 2 months before it's even a factor, looking for something that's about to go wrong. Yeah. Like, fuck living like that. I will not entertain it. You do it, crack on, do what you want. Just keep that poison inside you. And don't fucking spill it out to me because I'm not interested.
Okay. People are angry, aren't they? There's 2 different types of people in this world. There's Elijah, who says, liking the vid before the intro finishes. Only for Jaffin. Heart emoji. Thank you, Elijah.
No.
Appreciate that. Elijah, are you a patron? Come on, son. Or there's people like... There's people like Steel Sprinter 1. He says, ran into this podcast randomly. What trash and waste of my time. You've got the energy to write that. That's what blows my mind.
I thought there was more.
No, that's it. You've got the energy. Okay. You've got the energy to write that.
Well, no, we were wound.
That's why I want us to reply all the time. I went, why you just leave? You don't get. You say, go. This restaurant's rubbish. This restaurant's not really for me. I'm not really enjoying it. Just leave. Just don't go to that restaurant again.
Yeah.
You don't just piss on the middle of the floor. Anyway, Rigmarole, long-time listener, first-time poster. After a really tough morning with a lot of personal problems and with listening to the radio, with all this horrific things going on in the world, I desperately needed some happiness and relaxation. I quickly searched for the latest pod. I'm now 40 minutes into the video, and my mental state is 100% better. So thank you, lads, for being there to help me escape the madness of reality. We can only move forward. It's a funny world, Flav. It's a funny old world where this provides any kind of reprieve. But what I would like to say is, Rigmarola, we see you. I hope you're all right, mate.
Only forwards.
Only forwards, my friend. And only forwards to absolutely everyone. If you're having a little wobble today, then we're about to put forward some sweet spots. So stick around. Jim Big Laugh Award. What was this? Hour and 18 in. Right. This did make me laugh from last week's pod, or 2 weeks pod, 2 weeks ago's pod. Wallace, he said, imagine Harry Kane is one of the footballers that watches the podcast. He settles down early Saturday morning before prepping for his game. Big bowl of cereal, tears trickling down his face at the same pace of the milk off his chin as he hears those jokes about him. So we were touching on how I presume that Harry Kane loves cereal. It's a simple, nutritious thing that gives him the edge he needs to score the goals that he bloody loves scoring. I would like, that's possibly a new bit, is like, what do you presume? 2 things. One, with the Arteta thing, what's a secret? What's a secret that you presume a footballer has, or someone in football has? And make sure it's readable. And the other one is like, what do you presume certain footballers like? For example, Harry Maguire loves banana sandwiches. And Harry Kane loves cereal. Scored a goal, didn't he? So do we like him now? Do we like Harry Maguire now? Is he all right now, is he?
Yeah, wasn't he like... I thought the Manchester United stat might be that the win percentage of him in the team is like 18 of the last 19 or something. Mental.
Oh, no.
A win without him. He's started the last couple of games as well. He's played all right, hasn't he, apparently?
Yeah. Does that mean he's a good person now? Because he was a bad person before, wasn't he? But now he's headed to football. He's a good person. This made me laugh. Lol Meerkats. I think I presume we're talking about being on the toilet. He said, a great man once said, and this is a new bit as well. A great man once said, or a wise man once said, if you've been given moments of wisdom that you carry with you, get them in the comments. We'll read them read them next week. A great man once said to me, it takes no wipes to know it will take 20. But it takes 2 wipes to know that it took none. That's class. The reply, I giggled at the reply after that, though.
That's good. That's good.
Zezwitz then said, take the shot, learn, move forward. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Take the shot. Top comments. Jack Byrne, Jim is right. People have heard it wrong when Kane is called a serial goal scorer. He's actually a list of descriptors. Serial goal scorer. Very good. And we're going to calm down. Forget about it. Moments that you would wish that there was VAR and you could get rid of it. JSWYR, he said, after a thumping at 5-a-side, the team needed a trip to Spoons to boost morale. While there, everyone begins ordering some snacks, as everyone has come straight from work and hasn't had a chance to have some dinner. When asked what I'd be ordering, I proudly stated that I wouldn't be ordering anything, as I had my mum's famous beef and onion stir-fry waiting for me at home, or my family just calls it beef and onion for short. What?
Beef and onions tonight, Mum?
Yeah, well, one mate then asks, what on earth is beef and onion? This perplexed me, as my mum had made her beef and onion stir-fry for this person before to rave reviews. I was actually quite offended on my mum's behalf that he didn't remember. Still a little flustered at his response, I clapped back with a, what are you on about? You were all over my mum's beef and onion. The whole table erupts into laughter, and I immediately regret saying anything. With the mental image of my mate all over my mother's beef and onion being engraved into my mind.
Is it okay to go to make like euphemisms for male or female genitalia? Are we on dodgy ground?
Am I on dodgy ground?
Well, we are we as a podcast going, if you'd say, God, I'd love a go on, God, give us a go on your beef and onion.
I mean, I don't think that plays out well. Do you know what I mean? Ooh, yeah, she's not going, right. Ooh, say it again. Say beef and onion again.
Yeah.
I'd love to tuck in. You were all over my mother's beef and onion.
Roll over, love. Let's have a go on your beef and onion.
Okay, that's terrific. Right. Yeah, okay, maybe it is.
Let's have a go on your beef and onion.
Yeah, polite. Yeah. Go on. No, go on. Go on.
That is,
let me have in terms of beef and onion. That's so
in terms of Jaff and merch, which should be just like, if that was on a t-shirt, I'm sure about 3 or 4 people would buy it. Let's have a go on your beef and onion.
Oh, yeah, I don't want that associated with Jaff, if I'm honest. He wished that went away. He said, if only VAR had intervened and prevented my choice of wording, I'd be able to enjoy my mother's famous dish without having to be bombarded by the worst possible intrusive thoughts. I've had the, I can't believe I'm about to say this. I have the same problem. Because my mate came over once and he was able to tuck into my mum's fish pie. He's Dom's a massive fan of my mum's fish pie. Anyway, faux compliments. Quick one. The best faux compliment has to be when someone says something like, you actually did well, insinuating that they did not initially have faith in you. Actually is a real power word in this context. There you go. One sentence words. A couple of quick ones here. Harry Barnes, I'm absolutely convinced the word war chest has and never will be used in any sentence other than those related to new Chelsea manager's potential transfer budget. I think that's true. This is a good one. Adam William, a word you can only use in one sentence. Figment. What would you guess the sentence is, Fluff?
What?
Figment.
A word that you can only use in one sentence?
Yeah.
What are you asking me to do? Sorry,
I don't think if I hear the word figment and you put that into a sentence, what would the sentence be?
A figment of my imagination.
Exactly. It can only be put in that. Generally, you
you
don't hear it anywhere else.
Yeah, actually, now you think of it, that is.
And a question just to take into the weekend as a reply. Penderford said, "What even is a figment? How big is it? How is it measured? Is it even visible?" There you go.
It's so true.
What is a figment?
I'm just fine.
Okay. James Copeland said, one sentence word, torrential. I've never heard or seen the word torrential that is not immediately followed by rain. And there's a few others as well.
Torrential, yeah. Downpour.
We touched on the Allcott horn last week.
Figment quickly is something invented or imagined, a myth or a fable, deceitful practice, false doctrine.
Okay.
Figment of my imagination.
Yeah, we're talking about the Allcott horn. So when I'm drifting off, yeah. So I use the regulator every night, Flav, now. And
I told you. Did I tell you that I got a message from a geezer on Instagram?
Yeah, he sent it to me.
I did. He just went just doing a regulator, thinking of you as I drift off.
I did see someone said, someone said, I feel like you've stolen. He's stolen from you. You've stolen from him. Someone said by doing the regulator every week now. Tough for him.
Why?
But you've given. You're not stolen, haven't you? You've given him a well-regulated situation.
Is he suggesting that he did it first?
No. He's saying that he's just said you're living in his head, rent-free, just before sleep.
Yes.
So Nemesis said, "I've heard my wife do the Allcott horn, which is a sentence I never thought I'd type." Wasted on him again because he's not fucking listening. That was great. That was great. You're doing it again.
Can I tell you why I'm doing it now?
Did you hear what I said there? That was good.
I know. My mum just texted me with something that was somewhat alarming. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Nothing too serious, but something I wasn't expecting to read. Sorry, it's good.
Right. Okay. I'll read it out again, and you can pretend to laugh. Right. I've heard my wife do the Allcott horn, which is a sentence I never thought I'd type. There you go. Joseph said, "Hello, James Flaffernow. Until now, I thought I was the..." Oh, sorry, hang on. Ollie says, "I've also noticed I do the Allcott horn over the last couple of months, very occasionally, and it almost shocks me when it happens." That's what happens to me.
Yeah.
Fucked off. You just fucked off. Is he fucked off again? This is a piss take. We're just before sweet spots as well. Don't do this to me again.
Back.
I'm coming back. My fucking battery died.
Okay. Joseph's a weirdo. Joseph's a weirdo, mate. I don't know what he's up to. He said, "Hello, James and Flav. Until now, I thought I was the only one who did what is known as the Allcott horn, just before drifting off to sleep. As is customary for a young Australian, I've travelled Europe for a few months with my best mate. On the many long train rides, I would see it as a good opportunity to catch up on some well-needed rest. In doing so, sitting across from me, my mate made me aware of an Allcott horn-esque noise I made right before falling asleep, which he thought must have sounded a bit like an orgasm. I mean, it is fulfilling somehow, much to his amusement. I can't say the same for the locals who shared our train journeys, who looked at us with confusion and disappointment. It didn't stop me from terrorising trains all throughout the UK and Italy with Allcott horns for the rest of our trip. Yeah, I only do it occasionally, Joseph. So you're a bit weird, mate. You're a bit weird.
Jim, didn't you used to say that I used to make noises in the Paul Street office?
Yeah.
That I was unaware of.
Sort of, you'd have your headphones in. And you'd be like typing away, and you just go. So maybe is that a bit like work sounds? I might need voice notes for this, guys. Maybe on Twitter or something. Work sounds.
Well, I'm sitting in this office at home, and I'm thinking, am I like on my own? I'm thinking, am I just sitting there making noises that I'm unaware of? My dad does it. My dad.
Yeah. Right. I do want to quickly show some Ainsley Harriott celebrations. I know it's a really long podcast, but
I want to see him.
Okay. Do you want to see this as well? Just super quickly. Let me just mute it. Yeah, it's definitely muted. Did you see what Man City were wearing on the way to the ground? So they're wearing these cardigans, but with their number on the back and their name as they arrive.
Can you share your screen because I can't see?
It's absolutely mind blowing. So look, so Guardiola looking class, right? Yeah. And then these lads, and Grealish knows. Look, 10 Grealish on the back. These are grown men.
Horrendous.
Grown men wearing jeans and the collared shirt.
Charity, or is it?
No, they're just rocking up to the ground. No.
That is outrageous.
That
is outrageous.
That's the worst thing I've ever seen.
The
money that these people are on. The money these people are on. Manchester City on the side.
But the club have made them do that, haven't they?
Disgraceful. Yeah.
It is disgraceful.
But I find it amazing that you can't say no. Like, surely you should be able to go, I'm sorry, no.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing that.
Yeah.
Right, Ainsley Harriott celebrations, get yours in. Here's a few. First up, I'll say his name at the end. Now, I'll be honest. It's non-committal. Not good enough. Right.
It's also in a club which is kind of, you're obvious, isn't it? It's like you're hidden in amongst the dancing.
Right, Casey, I appreciate the effort, but you're better than that. Okay, must do better. I want more. So, you'll see. So next up, this is Maxi Tina, who gets involved again. Committed, like it. Nice little dip, likes it, and then a lovely little smile as well. But it just doesn't feel totally wholehearted. I want to see ingredients thrown in. I want to really work on that sauce before tucking into it.
Longer.
Where is it? Oh no, I've lost it. Hang on, I'll find him. I'll find him easy enough. Where are you? Because I think it was Len. Yeah, Len. Now this is super. Look, takes his time. Nice slow-mo, little bit of hip thrust in there, taking his time, not having a little tuck into it. He's happy, and he goes back. It's superb. It looks like a bit of a penis as well. Really working on that booyah base.
Fantastic.
Great
top draw, boys.
Yeah, super
sensational.
Stuff. Look at it. It's a bit like the slow-mo, and I'm in. And I'm really excited about the sauce here. What are we doing here? Can he throw some ingredients? Again, give me a minute. I need to taste this sauce. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And back to work. Great work from Len. Superb.
Great stuff.
Okay.
Great stuff. More.
And really, really soak yourself in the sauce, may I say.
Yeah.
Right, finally, we're nearly there, guys. Sweet spots. We end off with some sweet spots after a tough week last week. Or 2 weeks ago. 05 Bowler. Oh no, we've said that. Right. Jack Kirby. The first 4 words of this, I burst out laughing. Sweet spot. When my piss is clear and doesn't fucking stink. I feel like I come out of the bathroom feeling so superior to all the dehydrated scum around me. Having to immediately tell someone, and I won't shut up about it all day. What? Park life. Sweet spots. The perfect way to start your day. When you wake up in a groggy mess and you roll over and you check your phone, seeing that it's 3 a.m. rather than the expected, just before your alarm time. Knowing you can peacefully roll over and you've still got more than half your sleep still waiting for you. What a fucking feeling.
Yeah, that is a great feeling.
Oh yeah, there we go. That was taken. That was last week. Oh, this is good. Lewis Williams. Do you remember this? Just checking in. Completely robbed this off of TikTok, but an unreal sweet spot was getting your feet measured at Clark's. Sensational feeling as the measurer gently massages the back of your heels. Are you sure your feet have grown? Definitely. Get that measure out.
Yeah, he's so right. So this would have been when you're going to Clark's and they had a board that was at a kind of 45-degree angle. Yeah. And you put it on it and she just puts the top down and it tells you the exact size of your foot.
Do you remember the machine? Did you ever have the machine?
What, an actual contraption?
Yeah, they used to be a machine. Yeah, they used to have a machine. So this is the Clark's. This is the foot gauge. But I wonder if there is the machine.
Mine didn't look like that.
I think this is. Is this it? There used to be this amazing thing. I'll just see if it's there. I might get done for rogue. Clark's using Clark's foot measurement. Oh no, it's not that. I don't want that. Right. Anyway, it was this machine that went. You put your foot in it, and it went width. Are you at an A, B, C, D, E, F, G? And then and you get a little marking, and you're like, the moment in between is like, where are we going to finish off? Oh, it was brilliant.
I know, it's great.
The
mine wasn't as technical as that. It was just a wooden thing you just put your foot on.
Are you sure your feet have grown? Definitely. Get that measure out. Stephen Devlin, at that moment at a match, some absolute toolbag has been shouting basic tactics at the team for 35 minutes, gets told to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
By someone else who can clearly handle themselves. At that moment, you realise you'll never have to hear another word come out of his mouth. Is just pure joy.
Mate, it's mad how the lack of self-aware, how many people have a complete lack of, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Just dickheads. They don't realise they're dickheads.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And Harvey Hare, sweet spot. It's 10 a.m. You've just spent 2 hours going through security and all the rigmarole at Heathrow Airport. Once you finally get through, you see the glowing lights of a bar in the distance, sandwiched between a W.H. Smith's and a Starbucks. You sit down with a beautifully poured pint, not caring about how much you paid for it, and ready to sit at that table and wait for your flight 2 hours away.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah. Although I'm sort of in that moment steeped in fear that my plane's going to go down on a fireball, but if I didn't have that would be a good.
But you now know that that's a nonsense.
I know.
And there we have the longest ever Jaffin in history. We made.
Well done. I've got to go and get my mum.
Okay. Hey, you go get her. You go get her.
I thought he was going to go.
All right.
Fucking beef and onions is going to dominate my thoughts for weeks.
Okay. Get involved in the comments as ever with everything that we've spoken about. You create the running order. Become a patron. Have a great weekend.
Cheers, everyone.